Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. Today's one is a little different. I originally was going to be doing this video for my team for Hong Kong. I'm the makeup director for Ocean Park's Halloween Fest over in Hong Kong. And every year we have people apply, and so I thought that I would do this video to assist them with understanding a little bit more about technique and sort of what we're looking for. But then I decided I was going to open it up to everybody because I thought there's a lot of people who could probably benefit from this information. So today we're going to be doing Old Age with an airbrush. So this is sort of a theatre makeup slash haunt makeup type style. I'm going to be doing 3 colours. The makeup I'm using today is Pro Air, who sponsor my videos and my work. They're wonderful, they're my favourite makeup product. And the colours I'm using today, I'm using the brown, henna, and pale dead for my highlight. So we're going to talk a little bit. Normally I would ask that this makeup be done within 10 minutes. We give people within 10 minutes. Obviously I'm not going to be doing that today because I'm going to be explaining as I go, but you should be able to, when you get comfortable with these techniques, be able to do these in 10 minutes. So I have Ju Young with me here. He's going to be modeling for my video today, and it's very kind of him to come and loan his face and chest for us. And so without further ado, let's get started. To be able to do this in the time frame that has been allotted of 10 minutes, you really want to run at a minimum of 3 airbrushes. And I've got one that has my, my medium tone, which is my henna. I have one running my dark brown, and then one running my highlight. And that way you're not wasting time cleaning out airbrushes and switching over colors. Also, to speed things up, I like to use a little stencil like this that I made. Now all I did was I just put it on his face, traced out his nasolabial fold going up over the nostril and down around here. So I'll show you how that fits on the face when we get to that point. Here's another one down here that is for someone else. I have a couple of different ones of these which I can usually find one that works, but I custom made this one before we started, and I marked on it so that I remember which way is the goes above the nostril. This is a very, very fast and effective way of getting quite a bit of strength in your makeup, but still having some subtlety to it. This little bit cut out here is for the eye bag, because what happens so often is people will do these big hard lines, and nothing on the face when you get old has hard lines. So this is, we're able to just sort of dust off this and it'll create a nice strong line or edge with a softness which will be good for our old age. I do a 3 color pass when I'm doing these. Sometimes I'll use a darker brown with black as the darkest color. It depends on what the environment is. If it's something that's going to be at night, obviously you're going to want a little bit more contrast. But for today, I'm going for something just slightly more subtle, although I will be getting into 100% value on the color. So much of the time, people will do something and it looks like it's kind of really soft and it's all done in mid-tones, when in actual fact, you really need to pop it with some full value darker tones to be able to actually sculpt to the face. So here's our stencil. You turn your head a little bit. You can see that sits right over the nostril here, and then goes under the cheekbone and creates this little thing here. So okay, you can see that that has created a nice soft shadow. Give me a look. Okay. Just need to a tiny bit of off-spray. It's a smaller stencil, so I didn't give myself enough room to play, and I got just a little bit of off-spray on the lip there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pop some. Now I'm going to pinch my hose to really. You can hear how the air pressure dies right down. Anytime you're working around the eyes, you either want to turn it down on your compressor or pinch your hose. So I'm going to pop some shadow in here. I'm just going to put the start of a little thingy here, and then pop this in. Oops, sorry. Just turn your head this way slightly. Okay, so you can see that's starting to create a little bit more balance. When we first put those nasolabial folds in, it was like, whoa, it doesn't look right. But as soon as we start getting some extra shading in here, it starts creating a little bit of balance. And temple a little bit. Just bringing out this indentation in the forehead area. So at the moment, apart from the eye bags, we're just really doing some shading. So if we bring this, we're going to bring this cheekbone in. Here, do the same thing on this side. And you can see that I'm kind of, when I put the stencil on, I swept it through the apple of the cheek to create this contour. And I'm just kind of bringing this down and softly, very softly joining that up so that it creates an overall I guess, what's the word I'm after? What is the word I'm after? I guess, relief or whatever of the face itself so that we can see. Now you can actually change things around and move the cheekbone around and whatnot, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do what we've got sort of naturally going on here. Now I am going to just drop this down just a little bit under here. Okay, and just shadow that in. And what that does, it's going to create the effect of a jowl. Then I'm going to have him turn his head all the way this way. You can see this nice big juicy tendon here, muscle. Just going to a little bit of a shading there, go this way, and you can position the head to bring that out more. And now you notice I haven't done big lines coming down here. That doesn't look natural. Because remember that the skin actually sits over the top of all of those muscles. And so we have to create some flow. So I'm going to do shadowing here along there. Now obviously if they're going to be wearing a shirt that's up to here, you don't need to do all of this, but this is how I would shade in the neck. I'm going to put your head up. Down. Down here. These up through here. Now you can see that the soft shading, it's not all just hard lines. A lot of people, they do these really big hard lines and they go big hard lines through here and it looks very painted, whereas these in-between tones are what actually do the heavy lifting of sculpting the face. I just want to soften this edge down just a little bit. It's looking just a tiny bit Cirque du Soleil right now. And just going to a bit of shadow coming through here. Okay, you can see that that's also creating something which brings out this little muscle here on either side of the nose. Okay, can you do this with your eyebrows? Okay, so here, this is one area where you really need to follow what they've got, because if you paint something and then all of a sudden they do this and it's not in the right place, it's going to look really weird. So I'm just going to put a little note in for myself. Okay, relax. Okay, so I can see now all of the areas where I need to hit. So I'm going to bring this up through here. Bring this one up through here. Now, so I see some people like to join these together. It never joins together. There's always a muscle little fold right here. So you never want to join these two together because it just doesn't look natural and doesn't follow what an actual face really does. And you don't want to make these too small. You can certainly make the darker shadow smaller, but you definitely want to bring some of the highlight right up through the forehead area. And typically when you're doing old age, be it prosthetic sculpting, be it theatre makeup, you definitely want to decide if you're going to have the horizontal lines more defined or the vertical lines more defined. And we can use our highlight to bring out some without having to put big lines everywhere. So I can automatically see there's a few little lines here, so I'm just going to put a little note in here. Now you can see that that's kind of subtle. I haven't done big hard lines across here. That when you put the shadow and the highlight and the shadow and the highlight, it often looks like a piece of bacon stuck across the forehead, which we don't want bacon. So this, I've put it here. I've broken this line up here a little bit. I've got a little thingy in here, and that's it. And so now what we need to decide is if we're going to have the vertical lines be stronger or the horizontal. I think I'm going to go with the vertical lines being stronger, and I'm going to just bring these horizontal lines out more with my highlight, and I'll show you how to do that as well. I do want to make sure that I do a little bit of shading in the ears, because otherwise it looks very unfinished. Behind the ears a little bit. Come out.
Is it alright to scratch my forehead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scratch away, sir. Scratch away. Now, one thing I do like about the henna, as opposed to just using the dark brown, is it has a lot of warmth to it, which I really like. Obviously, it's not always the right choice, depending on the character, but for what we're doing today, I kind of like that it's got a fair amount of warmth in there. So I'm just going to come in here and just pop this in just a little bit more. Okay, now we're going to do our crow's feet here. Now, crow's feet, a lot of people just want to put little lines here. The crow's feet actually come from the corner of the eye, and it's this skin here from the eyelid that starts to sag down and then form into this crow's feet cluster. So you have to kind of take it from here. Right. I'm going to pop some little wrinkly looking things in here. I'm also going to put some subtle little lines in like that. Now they're not big lines. Some people do big heavy lines on the neck. They'll go with these big hard lines. You don't want that. These are just meant to look like sort of wrinkly skin. Okay, now it's time for our highlight. Excuse me, I'm just getting over some kind of a cold. Now when we're doing our highlight, the rule for highlighting is that every shadow should have 2 highlights. So if we have a highlight, oh, I'm missing a line with my shadow. There's usually one that goes right across here. Let's just bring out that nose just a little bit more. There we go. So if there's a highlight here, then there would be a highlight here on either side. If there's a highlight here, then there will also be a highlight here, and so on and so forth. And that way you get balance in your makeup. And what I get a lot of people doing when they apply for our team is they'll have highlights here and nothing here, and it looks really weird because, you know, unless this was like so much further out that it's going to pull so much more light and create a shadow here, there would be the equal amount of highlighting. So also with highlight, it is almost always more light at the top and fading down, whereas shadows tend to fade up. So, oh, I haven't done any shading on the mouth there either. Let me just grab that real quick, because I have... Now, when you're doing these, they actually radiate out. A lot of people like to do them straight up, but that's not what happens. If you do this, okay, see how the muscles contract in here? And as people get old, especially if they're smoking and they're doing this all the time on a smoke, you can relax. It pulls everything in here, and so when they get older, they get these radiating wrinkles through here. I am just going to slightly soften this as well. Let's put in a little pop there on either side as well. That looks better. Okay, so now for real, we're going to do our highlights. So we're going to start at the top here and fade it down. So you can see right away that it's starting to bring a little bit more balance into the makeup. Put a little bit on the nose here, a little bit on the nose there. Now you don't have to have a big heavy line. You can have a little pop here and a little pop here as long as there's balance. It just needs to be balanced. And so by doing that, we're creating a shape of the nose without having to actually have a shadow there. It's just the highlight. The highlight we can do a lot of really interesting sculpture work with. I'm just going to pop a little bit on the eyelids. And we're going to put a little bit on this eye bag here. I'm sorry, you alright?
All good.
which a lot of people miss. Bring this cheekbone. And again, the cheekbone gets the highlight mostly at the top, and then as it fades out, it creates that barrel of the cheek. Again, the highlight here, mostly near the top and fading down. Okay, now I'm going to get you to make it like you're sucking a tiny bit of spaghetti, but without a hole. So as tight as you can get. Smallest, like a cat's backside. There we go. That always gets it. And I'm just going to lightly haze across the lips, relax. Okay, and that's kind of giving him some sort of cracked lips. Going to bring out these jowls. So I'm just going to basically put a highlight where there would normally be a shadow, and that will counteract the natural shadow, and the eye will read it more as a jowl. Right in through here. Get along the collarbone area. And you can see that I'm bringing out this with a highlight, but I'm breaking it up in between those lines a little bit, so it's just sort of subtly bringing out those highlights. I'm bringing out those lines here. I'm just going to pop a little highlight right underneath each of them just to give them a little bit more form. And a little bit of highlight just on the ears. Okay, that's done with you can see that that's already creating quite a lot of depth and form to the face. Now we're going to go through with our dark brown and just really pull it all together. So we're going to bring our little friend back again. Just pop this way. Make sure we line that up again in the right spot. Okay, now just look forward. Now you can see the big difference there with those two. This side here, it has so much more depth and form than this side. This side's all still mid-tone. This side now has a darker, like a second pass of a darker tone, and it really creates a lot more depth and form. So, do it on this side as well. Okay. Back it up in here a little bit. Right through the middle here. Hold still. Jiggling a little bit. Okay, so we brought out the lines in the brow. You can see that's starting to really sculpt the brow in. Now, I'm not going to do it on the horizontal lines because we already made the decision that we're going to be focusing on the vertical lines, not the horizontal ones. So the horizontal ones are absolutely still there. They're still there, but because we've accented these horizontal lines, it gives a little bit more of a natural feel to it. The eye bags, I'm going to just pop right along the bottom edge with some full value of the darker brown. And you can see that that's, again, created a much needed darker shadow. Turn this way. Wow, quite a lot of dry tip going on there. Now when you're doing the darker shading on the cheekbone here, don't bring it further than the corner of the eye, otherwise it starts to look like big Elvis sideburns and it doesn't look very good. And the cheekbone actually comes all the way up into here, this area. So this way. And down. Okay, so you can see how natural that's looking, as opposed to having just big, heavy lines. You know, obviously, you're not going to be always doing this detail work down here, but it gives you an idea. Another thing we can also do is to throw a little sort of mottling texture in here just to break up the look of the forehead. This goes in pretty quick, and just keep it kind of natural. The odd stronger liver spot kind of thing. Okay, you can see that really breaks up the texture of the skin there. And that's it, pretty much completed. We can add some white into the hair or some silver if we want to age the hair. I will not be doing that because we're actually going to be doing another video after this on zombies, and I don't want to have to deal with that, but you can absolutely do that if you want. I haven't really painted much around the eyes. I don't want to bring the eyes out. I want to make the eyes kind of small, so I haven't really... I've got the highlight right up under here, you can see on the other side. Close your eyes. But I haven't really brought out the eye line here because I don't want to contrast something dark with the eyes, because the eyes in old age are one of the things that really gives it away a lot. And so by having a juxtaposition of an eye line with a young, brighter eye, it's going to create more of a contrast and sort of give it away more. So I've kind of left that so that his eyes just kind of become softer and less defined. And with the highlight here and the highlight here, it makes the lids look a lot more puffy, which is also what happens as people get older. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned a lot from it, and we'll be coming back shortly with one on how to do an airbrush zombie for a haunted house. Hope to see you then.